Unfortunately, Krian cannot be here with us today, but in some twisted way, this gives Antoine and myself a perfect opportunity. Yeah, I'm enjoying the story. For people that, and this is one thing that I've seen in a lot of the reviews, is people are like, "Oh, this game is so woke," and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see where you're getting that
No.
from. It's just a basic story. I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem to have
Well-known
any sort of
story.
political agenda or anything like that. You know, it's just, I mean, you have a female protagonist, sure, but
Lara Croft is.
yeah, Laura Croft is a female protagonist, and yeah, I mean, Aloy, and then this is one of the things, like Aloy can be quite abrasive sometimes, and yeah, she's oh she can
That's just how
definitely,
she is.
yeah, that's just how she
That's just how
is, right?
she is. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean,
exactly.
you see the other female characters, you know, they're not all the same. You see, you know, that's just Aloy's personality. That's how she is. So,
And also because she has been an outcast all her life,
oh yeah,
at the beginning. Also because she has quite literally the weight of the world on her shoulder. She doesn't have much time. So when someone is saying, "Can we do that?" No, we do this my way, or I go through you. You choose.
yeah,
It's not being abrasive; it's being functional
yeah. That's one thing that I've kind
and
of felt
practical.
with the, like, all the time. She right at the beginning, you know, Varl comes up to you in the intro, and then, you know, you he mentions you ran off, and then as soon as, you know, that intro is done, she runs off again, and then, you know, she
Of
meets Aaron
course.
and she runs off, and at one point, she gets wounded, and somebody's like, oh, you know, um she needs rest, and Varl's like, I'm gonna stay here with her to watch her, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize you guys had that kind of relationship, and he's like, no, she has a habit of running away. That's the only reason I'm staying here, is because she has a really bad habit of running off. Um and yeah, it's not a girl power thing at all. It's you can entirely tell it's Aloy, and she's just taken on this whole thing on herself, and she just really, yeah, she just kind of doesn't, it's not even that she doesn't trust other people. It's just that she just
You,
has this,
it's very,
yeah, it's a very personal thing for
it's
her.
Yeah, but it's very easy to see as well in the first area with Val, because she can't be bothered to explain everything. She give him a focus, and he has to discover everything that she has known for all her life. Like, so this is, yeah, okay, Gaia. Now she's not a spirit. She's not a goddess. She's an AI. I don't want to explain this to you. Just find it yourself. I don't care. I don't have time for this shit. I
Yeah,
have a mission. If you can't keep up with me, I'm gone. And literally, you guys can't keep up with me because you are living in a primitive world with tribes and everything. How could you keep up with me? It's not like I don't like you. It's just I don't have time for that. So I'm
yeah,
gone. That it's really much more like this for me.
yeah. I really like the complexity of it, because I mean, yeah, she's had the focus almost all her life. She was an outcast. You know, these people. This is their culture. This is what they've learned all their lives, and in a way, you know, Aloy's kind of arrogant. She's kind of, you know, like, oh, you know, like, I'm smarter than everybody because I know all these things. And it's like, well, but they haven't seen those things. They've seen
Of
things
course.
very differently than the way you have. But she's kind of like, she kind of talks down to people a lot. And
Exactly like
yeah,
Silence talk downs to
and
her.
in the exact
Si-
same way that Silence talks down to her, exactly. And so it's kind of, her and Silence have a lot in common.
oh yeah.
And yeah, and I do kind of like that, because it wasn't so apparent in the first one, but in this one, it's becoming much more obvious. And I think, who was it? Somebody even says at one point, you know, you need allies. Or it was the guy. I think it was the guy that you were originally supposed to exchange. But he's like, in this world, you can't do it alone. You need allies. If you don't have
Yeah,
allies, you are not
Fashiv,
going to
Fashav.
survive. Yeah, Vashav, I think.
Mhm.
And he just says it right from the beginning, and I think that's, you know, and then seeing like Aloy get wounded and stuff, I think it's going to be a
It's
much more
gonna
apparent.
yeah.
Yeah, she's going to
Yeah,
need,
because
people.
Is are pushing it quite a lot that she's pushing down Val, Erend, everyone, every one of her allies, she's pushing them out right away. Plus Vashav, or Vashav, Taylor, that they're really pushing down quite a lot on it. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna become, one of the trope later in the game as well.
Yeah. I think
But
that's going to be the kind of the lesson
yeah,
she learns in this game is trust your friends.
and I completely disagree with Aloy in how she's treating Silence, because he may be arrogant, but he's really doing his best, to solve the solution.
And he's right every single time.
He's always right. He's a bit of an asshole.
He's a
But the
complete
same way
asshole.
but the same way she is with, the more primitive people. So,
Yeah.
he might be an asshole, but he's helping all the time. And she's like, when I find you, I kill you. Why? He's helping you.
Well, I think it's one of those things too where she doesn't entirely trust him. I mean, he's almost gotten her
It's
killed
hard to
several
trust,
times.
of course.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where I don't think she thinks. I think from her perspective, he's more interested in knowledge than he is in actually helping the world, and he would sacrifice other people and
Because
the
it's like
world
this, yeah.
because that's just how he is. So I think from her perspective, he's gonna be helping me insofar as it helps himself, but if my goals get
And
in his way, he's gonna betray me
of
without a
course,
second
because
thought.
he has the bigger picture, and you want to work for the bigger picture, no matter how he's gonna reach it. And I really want to see the answer to this polemic there was in the first game. Maybe you have seen it, but they were saying Silence is self-aware Apollo. Because Apollo has been destroyed by Ted Faro, purged. So they were saying that this sub-function still exists, but is completely empty. Say like loses memory. So maybe Silence, who always want to learn more. It's an obsession for him to learn more. Could he be maybe a self-aware organic version of Apollo? That was one of the big controversy or big questions that people talk about a lot in forums after Zero Dawn. And they're like, that's fun because he has some blue kind of robotic
Right,
tube.
but I mean
So
that's a
saying,
Banuk
could he be an
thing.
android? Yes, exactly. For me, it's just a human being and all, but I really like this. Usually, I don't really like this, complotist theory and all. But I saw that. That's actually. Well, I don't think it is, but
I don't
that's
think
actually
so,
an
but it's
interesting question.
possible. I could see it. I mean, if they could, because that's the thing is, okay, so they had the cryotubes, right? But then with Aloy, I don't think Elizabeth ever put her own DNA in the system. I mean, maybe she did, but I was always under
Yes,
the
she did.
impression that
Otherwise, I would.
Gaia just basically created Aloy from scratch. So she had like a digital version of the
No,
DNA and then just
no, no, no,
built it.
no, no. I remember that it was the emergency plan that the genetic code of
Ah, okay.
Elizabeth was in the system as a last resource.
But I mean, is it like a physical DNA or is it like it's
Yeah.
encoded?
After that, I don't know if it's a
Okay,
little
because if it's
tube or if
encoded, I
it's
mean, it would make sense that you could just create an Apollo, basically a synthetic uh, thing. But yeah, I don't think he's Apollo. I think he's just Silence.
Yeah, I think it's just a lens too. But I really like this little thing, and I don't know if the developers, read the forums and would like to answer this question. But I think that would be a nice thing for them to do.
Yeah,
And with this, we
yeah,
are already 1 hour in.
yeah. I know. I'm really interested to see what Silence is going to do because Aloy is right after you meet him with the Hades thing. She smashes her focus, so he can't track her, so she can't talk to him. But he basically said, these guys are coming through the door. They're allies, and then those guys come through the door, and the first thing they are is they're like, "Oh, there's Aloy, kill her," and I'm like, I don't think Silence. I mean, I think Silence actually thought they were going to help, so I'm really curious to see what happens when he finds out that they were going to kill Aloy because I don't think that was his intention at all.
Yeah, clearly, completely misjudged Jen.
Yeah. So
It's
I'm
clear.
really curious to see how that's going to play out with Silence, and because I don't think he's ever really been surprised like that before. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah,
his reaction to the fact that he made a very grievous mistake. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Yeah, and I'm
yeah,
looking forward to
absolutely.
seeing new machines. I've seen a few. I know there's still more out there. I haven't seen the elephant one yet. There are a few more. I haven't seen the I've seen some bird ones, but not the ones that were in the trailer.
I
Uh,
found the Thunderjaws. It's more than enough for me.
I found a Thunderjaw. I killed the Thunderjaw.
You did. Well
I've
done.
killed one Thunderjaw. Yeah, I recorded a video of it, but it took me like 5 tries because I'm playing on very hard and it's not easy. Oh, that's one thing that I didn't want to mention. I do like about this game is that when you scan them now, you can actually like go to like as you're scanning
True.
them, you can see like the different components and stuff. You can just like go through and it'll highlight certain things. And in the old game, it was always just kill the enemy, harvest the body, and that was it. And this one, most of them, so far, every single one I've seen, but I don't know if that's always going to be the case. But they have at least one part of the body that is a component that is an upgrade component, and it will explicitly tell you this is for upgrades. And so you have to break that part off. You can't just harvest it from the body anymore. And I think that adds a lot more strategy to a lot of these fights because it'll tell you like this component, if you take it off, that'll disable an attack. This component is an upgrade component. So like with the Thunderjaw, it's the tail. So when I killed the Thunderjaw, I was like, I have to take off the tail so I can collect it. So now I have one Thunderjaw tail. Yeah, it took a while to because in the old game it was for me it was always just with if I'm fighting a Thunderjaw, it's just take off the guns or take off the two guns on the sides and then just kill it. That's it. Take off those and then kill it.
The disc launcher.
Yeah, that's what it was. Take off the disc launchers and then kill it.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't want the disc
You know what's
launchers,
yeah.
get those off. And that was it. But now it's like, now when I was playing, I felt like I had to be a little more strategic. I was like, okay, I have to take off the radar thing first because then I can hide. To take off the radar thing. Okay, now I can focus on taking off the disc launchers. Okay, now that I've got the disc launchers off and that's off, I can find a good high ground. And from there, I can just kind of hide until it turns around and then take off the tail. And so I felt like there's a lot more strategy in that sense, or like with chargers, it's like aim for the horns because you can collect and pick up the horns. And so I
Yeah.
do like that. But there is one bug that I noticed in that in some cases things will drop and you'll see them and then you'll turn around and then you turn back and it's gone. And it's like, no, I spent so hard trying to harvest that one part and now I can't pick it up. So that is a irritating.
It's gonna be fixed.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And with this, so please give us your opinion on our YouTube channel, maybe under Adam's videos.
Yeah.
And tell us, do you like Horizon Forbidden West? We, both of us, are unanimous in the fact that this is a fantastic game.
Oh, absolutely.
It's living up to the first title. Absolutely. There is no downgrade, even maybe an upgrade, because the story is there, the combat function is there, there are some little increment here and there. I think they have done a fantastic job. Guerrilla team, you made my day and many, 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 many hours of gameplay. So thank you very much. That's my word to end this podcast.
Yeah. For me, it's again, like Antoine, I'm gonna say 100%. I'm enjoying this game. I'm absolutely loving it. I think it's fantastic. The only thing I would say is if you're playing this game, great. It's a lot of fun. If you are playing something else, currently, I would say finish that first. Just because there are a few bugs and I'm sure they're going to be patched out pretty quick. So, just finish whatever you're playing right now. And by the time, you come around to this, I think most of those bugs will be handled. So, yeah. But definitely pick it up. And if you have not played the first one, definitely play the first one. That'll buy you some time for them to patch some things up. And you'll appreciate this one so much more. Especially a lot of the returning faces that you're just going to be like, who is this person? But you're going to appreciate it so much when you see a familiar face and you're like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Yeah.